everyone, good morning. It's 8 a.m. in New Delhi. I am Satya Gandham.
And I am Charu Shankar, and you're watching WION Breakfast. But before moving forward with the show, here are the heads up this morning. This morning on our show, we bring you the story about food trucks in Kabul.
In our world segment, we bring you a story from a Dutch kitchen cooking insects.
Visiting courts and crowns, we will take you to Cambodia, where women are finally getting their share in sports.
After sports, we will tell you what the yesteryear's Hollywood artists are up to in their old age.
Also this week on WION Stretch, we have Zubin Atre. Follow him for his unique yoga mantras. Well, Satya, the smog that Delhi has been suffering and stifling under for so many weeks now has finally kind of lifted. But I still feel sad that we had to live through those weeks of absolute smog. And it's terrible that these days everything is polluted. The air is polluted, the food that we eat is contaminated with all kinds of fertilizers and whatnot. The air is polluted, so when the rains come down, they take all of that pollution into the soil and into what we eat.
And our children
nothing
are
is spared.
affected.
Even the water that we drink is not spared.
That's right. Even the government tried to make a few efforts in this direction. But you know what? Any such effort by any government can be sustained only if there is a repeated emphasis on these things. But then again, there is always the power of human inventiveness.
Oh yes, human inventiveness absolutely trumps the day. Now, one of the major rivers in India is the Ganges, and cleaning the Ganges, which is one of the holiest rivers in India, has been a key part of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Clean India campaign.
WION met up with a group of volunteers who are spearheading that effort. Take a look.
The tumultuous Ganga of the Himalayas finds peace like many a wandering soul in the city of Varanasi. As per the Hindu belief system, merely by dying in this city on the bank of the Ganga, a being can achieve salvation. For centuries, people have been coming to the city to spend the twilight phase of their lives or to cremate their dead loved ones. The river, therefore, bears the brunt of nurturing one of the most important pilgrimage sites of Hinduism. Varanasi is among the most polluted cities in India, a fact that is reflected along the ghats of the Ganga.
In the traditional Indian way, the environment was not a resource to be used and abused. In the original Indian way, the environment was referred to as Mother Nature, as Ma Prakruti. We have this attitude of thinking that we are saving nature for the good of nature, which I think is childish and immature. So we have to be very clear. We are not saving nature, we are saving ourselves by worrying and caring for the environment.
Since 2013, Temsutula Imsong of Nagaland has been cleaning the ghats of the Ganga. Her mission, Parijat, found resonance with many concerned residents, and slowly it became a revolution.
I'm here in Varanasi since 2013. Yeah, last year we started this initiative called Mission Prabhugat. We started from Mission Prabhugat, और Prabhugat का हालत जो था बहुत ही गंदा था. I can say it was an open defecation area. You see a lot of volunteer group like us who is working on the ghats, and all over India. We call it Shramdan group, right? Unless and until all of us participate, at least if you don't want to clean, stop littering.
Recognizing her efforts in line with the Swachh Bharat mission, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has felicitated Temsutullah and her team of volunteers.
The team, the ITBP team, was following Ms. Temsutullah Imsong since beginning. And that is why when we were about to reach Varanasi from Allahabad somewhere, we made a contact with her on Twitter, and the moment we joined at Varanasi, the group Sakar, Mission Parijat group under the leadership of Miss Tem Supla Song, it was the best effort we had seen over the complete stretch of 2,250 kilometers.
While the volunteers are a committed bunch, they receive a lukewarm response from the local civic authorities. Even the pilgrims do not cooperate when they are stopped from littering around the ghats.
We don't get any help from the pilgrims. Even if we ask for it, they would deny it. No one cares to follow up for this cause.
If the Prime Minister's own Lok Sabha constituency suffers from systemic inertia on cleanliness, despite his pat on the back to people like Temsutullah, what hope do other places have? It does not bode well for his flagship initiative. Bureau Report, WION.
What a strong message out there. You know, if you can't maintain something well, if you can't take care of it, if you can't clean it, at least don't litter.
Oh, yeah.
It's such an important, it is very important for us to know that we have to contribute to whatever effort the government may put in, whatever effort individual people may put in. It is so important to preserve our natural resources, our rivers which are like, they're holy for a lot of people. The Ganges is the holy river of India.
Yeah, and it's sad to see that it's the pilgrims themselves who are actually polluting the river, you know, as they go in their pilgrimages. That's what's terrible. They're worshipping it and polluting it at the same time. But you know, Satya, yesterday we had a story about a crumbling mosque in Pakistan. I'm sure you remember that story.
Absolutely.
Such a beautiful monument crumbling away. And we invited solutions for that story. And today we actually may have a solution coming to us from Myanmar. Yangon is at the heart of huge changes sweeping Myanmar, where Aung San Suu Kyi now steers a civilian-led government.
Ravaged by years of neglect under the former junta, an elegant colonial building known as 491-501 Merchant Street has undergone a dramatic makeover that restorers hope will serve as a blueprint for saving other architectural treasures in Myanmar's biggest city. Take a look.
A rare rebirth in a city gripped with breathless change. This colonial building in downtown Yangon was chronically dilapidated after decades of neglect under the former junta. A restoration team with international backing has spent 10 months carefully returning the exterior to its former glory.
I'm very happy. Only a few people would think to renovate older buildings. If a building is old, normally people destroy it and build a new condo block. So this is a new experience for us.
Yangon is at the heart of huge changes sweeping Myanmar, where Aung San Suu Kyi now steers a civilian-led government. Investment has surged following the removal of most sanctions. Urban development is accelerating, putting heritage buildings at risk. Restorers hope the project will be a blueprint for preservation that includes the community.
They're happy with the building. The building's looking great. It's attracting attention from people, which is one of the key aspects of a demonstration project. We want to engage people and really thinking about their heritage.
Some residents were initially wary of the offer of a free makeover for their crumbling home, but they've been won over by the transformation.
I believe the renovations are a reward from a previous life because we couldn't have afforded it ourselves.
The century-old building now stands as an elegant remnant of the past as Myanmar looks towards the changes and challenges of the future.
Well, that was a nice story. Restoration being something that is as much a government initiative as it is a civilian pursuit.
That's food for thought. Speaking of which, emblazoned with a giant hot dog and an Afghan flag, the food trucks serving Western fast foods are slowly winning over the hearts and stomachs of the Afghan's capital's emerging middle class.
That's right, we are talking about Kabul here. But the popularity of food trucks in Kabul owes less to their culinary offerings and more to the slow lifestyle changes of an emerging middle class. This report tells us more about what's happening on the streets of Kabul.
Dawn in Kabul. Time for Obaidullah to pick up his food supplies, warm up his engine, and hit the road. This is how another long day of waiting for customers starts for employees of Laziz, Afghanistan's very first food truck company.
On a daily basis, we get 30 to 60 people. It's mostly taxi drivers who stop by and ask what we have.
Naveed Nouri started the business a year and a half ago, and thanks to his 6 food trucks, now pockets $150 a day. A fortune here, as over 70% of Afghan households earn less than that in a month. But getting the firm up and running was not an easy task.
The first few weeks and the months, people didn't exactly know what it is. Some people thought that they are moving rickshaws, so you can sit in it and they can transport you from one location to another location. And some people thought this is an ice cream shop.
Another challenge was food hygiene in a country where 60 children out of every 1,000 die of diarrhea before the age of 5, according to an NGO. Naveed imports his hot dogs all the way from Karachi, 1,400 kilometers away in Pakistan, and has to make sure they arrive in perfect condition. So far, the clientele seems satisfied.
People don't have time to cook at their houses, so Laziz is a good option.
Since I am hungry and this is ready, I eat from here. Otherwise, I prefer Afghan food because that is something substantial.
Even 15 years after the fall of the Taliban regime, under which any Western influence was banned, foreign food is still an acquired taste in Afghanistan. But Kabul's emerging middle class seems to be taking it into their hearts and stomachs.
Well, Afghani food, of course, is one of my favorites, Satya. It's one of my favorite all-time world cuisines.
It's
so
very flavorful
and so everything is so cooked with so much care, and so much time goes into every dish.
Yes, and also food trucks also are a sign of normalcy. We see food trucks all over, and the food is yummy. It's like the middle class construct where everybody just wants to go out and have some nice food, and the food trucks are always there. So it's like a sign of normalcy where Kabul is finally coming back to the normal global map.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the thing that I'm always a little bit worried about when it comes to street foods is, how clean is it? Does it have anything icky in it? Does it have any worms in it?
Food worms? Well, what if the food worms were your meal?
Oh, gross, Satya. That's really gross.
Well, wait a minute. Come right back after we go into a very quick break, because we're going to tell Charu about how food worms make a meal. Come back soon.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching WION Breakfast, and it's time now to take you to the world stories that we have for you this morning. From the US, it's the latest trend in baby pictures, but it's not quite what you might expect. IVF scientists can now give parents-to-be an image of the day of conception. But it's not just for fun. There is some serious scientific reasoning behind it all. WION's Mandy Clark has the story.
Here at the Care Fertility Centre in London, scientists are getting an inside peek to the very beginning of life.
These two little dimples correspond to the DNA from mum and the DNA from dad.
The technique is called embryoscope. It takes images of fertilized eggs. The scientists do this so they can select the healthiest embryo for transplantation.
We're able to see all the mistakes they make and eliminate those from our selection, and we also know now that embryos which fit in with a certain developmental pattern, those embryos are more likely to form babies.
Before, scientists had to physically examine the embryos under a microscope, constantly pulling out the fragile cells every 24 hours to have a quick look. Now they can be examined harmlessly through the lens. The new technique has also given them insight into embryo development, which scientists have never seen before.
The novelty about this treatment as well is we're seeing growth and development of embryos that we hitherto have never witnessed before, and hopefully that will enable us to predict who knows, miscarriage, fetal abnormalities at a very, very early stage.
JC Jones is now 2. She was one of the first babies to have this new time-lapse treatment with Care Fertility. Her parents, Paula Chapman and Paul Jones, now have a complete record of her development from a few cells right up into her birth.
Only with IVF are our patients able to see what their baby was at the time it was conceived. They find it absolutely fascinating to see their little baby, which is developing here with us in the lab, and it just brings the patient so much closer to this very artificial treatment that we are providing for them.
This new technology is not only nice for parents to see the very beginnings of their child's life, it's also helping the clinic here improve their rate of successful implantation that leads to pregnancy by up to 20%. Not every IVF pregnancy will lead to a live birth. Some will be lost in miscarriage, and having seen the baby from cells could make it harder on a grieving couple.
Not everyone wants to see this video, especially if they have suffered the trauma of a miscarriage.
The clinic leaves the choice to see the video up to the would-be parents.
Some come back to us once they've had the baby, and then they want to add the video into that first part of the family photo album.
The lab is even working on a service that clients can log on to live footage of their developing embryos whenever they want. Mandy Clark, WION, London.
Well, that takes a selfie to a whole new level, Satya. C-E-L-L-fie. Selfie.
Good play on words there, Charu. Okay, now we take you to Netherlands for that mealworm I'm talking about. Oh, yes. We take you to Netherlands where Cecile's kitchen is buzzing with activities. Students are learning to cook a menu of couscous, hamburger and baklava pastries whose ingredients include mealworms, grasshoppers or other insect larvae.
Oh my God, am I actually hearing this right?
Yes, you're hearing this just right. Mealworms, grasshoppers or other insect larvae make this meal. To know more, take a look.
Walnuts, almonds and mealworms. We have to put them back in the pan so they taste better.
Cecile leads a cooking workshop with a twist, inviting her students to introduce insects into traditional recipes, like this one for the Turkish dessert baklava.
I was already looking for alternatives to meat because I want to be healthy, but becoming vegetarian is a bit too difficult.
It's got to be good. I won't eat anything I don't like, even if I know it's healthier.
Today's menu is larvae burgers with a side dish of couscous grasshoppers and a chocolate mealworm dessert. While some may cringe at the thought of being served up insects for their dinner, around 2 billion people around the world would consider that a delicious meal. And they're quickly becoming more popular. Not only are insects easy to process, but they're also nutritious, packed with proteins and minerals. Researchers say that huge financial and environmental savings could be made by switching from meat to insects.
If we produce beef, that takes about 25 kilograms of feed for 1 kilogram of meat. With insects, it's 2 to 1, so it's 10 times better. We get less manure, less pollution, less greenhouse gas production.
Sepp Henskens is the author of a book of insect-based recipes, a phenomenon he hopes will catch on.
Lekker. Ja, voegt echt wat toe. This is good. It really adds something, a nutty taste. Very good.
Although globally sales of edible insects may still lag far behind those of meat, attitudes do seem to be changing, especially after the recent meat scandals, as people search for alternative, cheaper and healthier cuisines.
I mean, if they're looking for cheaper, healthier alternatives, they couldn't find anything better than worms?
Charu, I actually just wanted to give you a dramatic entry into the story, which is why I brought it up. But trust me, I'm as much in a bit of a shock as you are.
I'm a little bit, I don't know if I'm going to make it to Cecile's kitchen, okay? Like, you think you're eating a hamburger, but actually you're eating
Look
worms.
at it this way. Look at it this way. There are birds that are cooked and eaten, the animals that are cooked and eaten. So I'm thinking maybe insects as well.
Worms? worms.
I get it. Okay then, from the stories that we've just been watching from around the world, we move forward to the world of sports and take a look at what's happening in courts and grounds. Young female skateboarders are riding against the tradition in Cambodia, where women have little access to sports. Today, they make up about 20% of elite athletes, a trend some bold women are now trying to change. Take a look.
Besides the tricks and flips, perhaps the most striking thing about this skate park in Phnom Penh is that there are as many girls as boys. It's a source of pride for the charity Skateistan, which sees sport as a force for gender equality. That's a powerful message in conservative Cambodia, where sports are mostly reserved for the boys.
We want girls to develop their skills through skateboarding and for them to overcome their fears. We want them to be themselves and not to be pressured by their families and their peers.
It's a different story at the elite level. Very few of the country's pro athletes are women. Wrestler Cho Sutira, who took part in the Rio Olympics in August, is one of them. All year long, she trains with men for lack of any female partners.
In Cambodia, people think sport isn't good for women, and that if they do it, they'll start to look like men, and that nobody will want to marry them.
Cambodian women are often expected to conform to rigid beauty ideals. They should be petite and slender, and their skin should be as pale as possible. Hardly an encouragement to run around in the tropical sun. The government has recently launched a campaign to try and get more women playing sports.
We decided to use successful women athletes as a model for our country and our nation. We want to show that doing sports does not have a negative impact on their lives, but on the contrary is very positive.
But there's a long road ahead, as inequality between the sexes remains deeply entrenched. One well-known guide to manners still instructs women to be discreet and subservient to their husbands.
Oh, what a great story there, Satya. I love these stories. You know, yesterday we had a story about Pakistani women powerlifters.
That's right.
And a few days ago we did a story about the Afghan boxer girls. And all of them, you know, out there smashing patriarchy, you know, and just the girl power behind it all. It's just so...
Can't agree more. I think it's girl power at its most normal best.
Yes.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
That's right.
On that very happy note, it's time for a very short break, but come right after the break, we bring you a lot more and we read what's between the lines of newspapers today. So come back after the break.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching WION Breakfast, and it's time now to take a look at the headlines this morning.
India's parliament to resume after a 4-day break. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend the House even as stalemate over demonetization continues.
The Syrian army and the military recaptures the city of Aleppo, ending 4 years of war between Islamic State militants and the Iraqi government.
Trump taps ExxonMobil chief executive Rex Tillerson to be the next U.S. Secretary of State.
The U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to announce its second rate hike today, likely to raise its benchmark federal funds rate by a 1/4 percentage point to 0.75%.
And Pokemon Go finally arrives in India. The augmented reality game will be released on Wednesday in partnership with Reliance Jio.
So those, of course, were the headlines this morning, but it's time now for Satya and me to pick up the papers and read between the lines.
Charu, I'm looking at the DNA and it's the annual good news. Yesterday, curtains raised on 10th Z Jaipur Literary Festival.
Oh, yay!
Yes.
I love the Jaipur Lit Fest.
It is something which the world loves to come to. One, it's in Jaipur. Two, it's a literary fest, and that's the best literary festival. Curtains
really
went
is.
up on the 10th edition of the Z Jaipur Literary Festival at the Taj Mansingh in the capital on Tuesday. The 5-day literary extravaganza, which will bring together over 250 writers and nearly 4 lakh book lovers, will be held at the Digi Palace in Jaipur from January 19th to 23rd.
Yippee!
So that marks the good news of the day.
That is super. So I have picked up the Mint this morning, and I was actually going to talk about high fashion now being affordable and a click away. And you know, I mean, I think we're the generation that grew up watching Sex and the City and Carrie Bradshaw, you know, strutting around New York wearing her Prada. And,
yes.
And we always wondered, like, how can she afford it? Well, apparently you can, because now high fashion is available on rent.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah,
Everybody can now get access to it.
Absolutely. There are designer wear rental websites where you can browse, and within an hour, the selected outfit just gets dropped to your house. It gets FedEx to your house. You can try it on, return it. They even adjust it for you. And it's all very, very nominal. For example, a designer gown which was bought for rupees 80,000, which, you know, if you buy it for 80,000 rupees, you know, you wear it just once, and that's it. It just, you know, goes into your closet, and you basically never see it again.
It just sits there.
Instead, this kind of rental service is a boon, because now, you know, you just spend as little as 2,000 to rupees 4,000, and you can wear it.
I see a great holiday season coming up with all those designer wear and me going to parties with all that designer wear.
Absolutely, and they have tuxedos, sequined dresses, clutch bags, gowns, colored suits, bow ties, lapel pins, pocket squares. Absolutely everything and anything that you would associate with high fashion is now literally just a click away, and is so affordable.
I'm very happy to hear that, Charu. I mean, what else would you want to know in this festival season? I mean, that's like the best news anyone would want, whoever is a fashionista or an aspiring one. Now, I have some more good news. With all the Delhi pollution that we've been talking about and pollution all around, now here's good news. Air purifying plants trend in the pollution hit city.
Yes. I have read about these plants. So you put them in your home, and basically, you know, they take away the carbon dioxide and the carbon monoxide and give out oxygen instead, and basically make the environment more livable, right? Indoors.
That's correct. And some plants also have the capacity to absorb some pollutants and particulate matter from the environment.
Really?
Oh, yes. So this is an article again in the DNA by Chavi Bhatia. Chavi Bhatia says rising pollution levels coupled with a host of respiratory and other health problems have taken the sheen out of otherwise beloved winter. But with these plants, commonly known as air purifiers, they come with a host of pollution combating functions, making them a popular choice for home gardens as well as inside residences.
I love it. I love it.
Real quick list of plants. Bamboo palm reduces formaldehyde, xylene and toluene. English ivy, it decreases amount of airborne fecal matter, absorbs harmful chemicals from cleaning solutions. And spider plant, very low maintenance, absorbs solvents found in rubber, leather and materials used in printing or related industries.
And here's the best part, they're pretty.
They're very pretty.
They are so pretty. Well, on that happy note, we are going to take a quick break here, but don't go anywhere, because Zubin Atre is coming up with his yoga segment right on the other side.
Welcome back after all the stories. Here is our fitness segment, and again, we have a lot more physical fitness exercises lined up as always. And let's take a look at WION.
We bring you a yoga session in WION Stretch, where Zubin Atre will be showcasing his yoga mantra that will help you keep fit with just a few easy asanas.
Hi, this is Zubin Atre, founder of Atre Yoga, and today I'm here with a set of 3 beautiful asanas with very detailed instructions to make sure that you get into those untouched corners of the asanas. The whole idea will be to work on the spine and the spinal cord to condition the nerves and squeeze the tension out of the shoulders and the shoulder blades. This will result in better coordination with your body and your brain and will leave you feeling uplifted and upbeat immediately. Continuing Atre Yoga Series 1, we'll be starting with sitting right in the center of the mat. We'll be extending the left arm out to the right hand side of the knee, opening the chest up, pushing the tummy forward. You'll be using the strength of your lower back muscles. Send your right arm up higher, reach up with your fingers as up as they can get, and keep the chest open towards where your right knee is pointing at the moment. Notice that your left arm is straight, your spine is straight, and your right arm is straight at the same time. Open the chest to the right hand side, let yourself look over the left shoulder, and very gently let yourself tilt down towards where your left knee is at the moment, as if you're letting yourself lower the left shoulder down on top of the left knee. Reach out with the fingers of the right hand side and tilt your head down to the left hand side. Continue breathing in and out, keep the chest open up towards the skies and reach out with your fingers as much as you can. Hold that position, and the idea at the moment is to stretch the right hand side of the torso. Continue breathing in and out, and as you take a long deep breath in, you're going to swing the body up and back to the center, bringing your right arm at your shoulder level with your palm facing right in front with your thumb pointing up. Meanwhile, you make a fist out of your left hand and you tuck it with your right knee. Start pushing into the knee with the help of the left hand, maintaining the whole length of the spine and the arm. Send your right arm back as it can get. Let yourself look far and over the right shoulder. Reach out with your fingers as far as they can get and visualize how your chest is nicely aligned right above your hips. Continue reaching out with your fingers. And when you breathe out, you're going to let yourself lower the right hand down in line with the tailbone. Press the palm down into the mat nicely and visualize your right arm being parallel to the spine. Continue pushing into the knee with the help of the left hand just enough to maintain the twist. Continue breathing in and out, and notice how with every release of the breath, you let your right shoulder roll further out and back, and how with every inhalation your chest goes up. Now slowly when you breathe out, you're going to get the body out of this, back to the center and relax. And with your right hand, you're going to let yourself grab your left knee with the chest opening to the left hand side. Send your left arm up towards the skies and reach out with your fingers as far as they can get. Pushing your tummy forward, looking over the right shoulder, you're going to let yourself lower the right shoulder down on top of the knee very gently, and with the fingers of the left arm reaching out in the same direction where the crown of the head and the right knee is pointing at the moment. Keep the chest open and the skies visible. Reach out with your fingers as far as they can get. And this is a position where you really want to extend the inhalations as much as you can, as the whole idea is to stretch the left hand side of the torso. Let yourself relax the neck and let the gravity work on your head. Continue breathing in and out. Take a long deep breath in, swing the body up and back. You're going to bring your left arm at your shoulder level, right above the border of the mat. Meanwhile, you make a fist out of your right hand, tuck it with the left knee, get the whole length of the right arm, left arm and your spine. Now continue pushing into the knee with the help of the right. You just simply let yourself look over the left shoulder. Hold yourself into that position and visualize how your chest is nicely aligned right above your hips. Continue reaching out with your fingers, continue breathing in and out. Make sure that you're just using the right amount of the strength with the help of the right arm to maintain the twist. Avoid straining anything around your neck or the shoulder. As you exhale, you're going to very gently let yourself lower the left hand down in line with the tailbone. Press the palm down into the mat nicely. You can spread the fingertips, spread open and wide. Continue pushing into the knee with the help of the right hand to look over the left shoulder. Look as far as you can and continue breathing in and out. Enjoy the twist you have in your spine and make sure that your breath is long and deep. As you exhale, you're going to get the body out of this, back to the center and relax. I hope you're feeling unwound and uncoiled after those intense spinal twists we were into. I'm going to see you tomorrow with a whole new set of series, whole new set of asanas to work on the hips.
Moving forward in this segment of our show, we will be talking about fashion, music, dance, social media and everything that lights up your day.
Well, on Twitter today we have Adil Malia with some of his most motivational tweets, which I like very much because they're beautifully illustrated. Self is where it begins. To begin with, be good with yourself. Start with good thoughts. Follow with good words.
You can outrun others. The universe will conspire for you to succeed, but only if the purpose is for you to win and not for that other to lose.
Well, these are some really inspiring tweets, and coming right after Zubin Atre's uncoiling and stretching. It's a beautiful thing to read, Satya.
That's correct. Curious human behavior. Our mind and our heart both have unlimited space for memory, yet we look for storage space in the clouds. That's so true.
Managing the peace within.
Each one of us has an identity crisis within. How well said.
But look at that illustration, you know, this is what really got me hooked onto Twitter. Gorgeous illustrations coming from Adil Malia over there.
That's correct. You know, at this age, if you're using illustrations to come up with these lovely thoughts, and what a way to start the day.
Absolutely. Well, moving on now over to the US. To most, the golden age of Hollywood may only be a memory, but it still shines bright in this retirement home in Los Angeles, reserved for the movie and TV stars of yesteryears. Here, residents continue making and starring in films for the community's internal channel, and some of them try to relive their glory days in a leading role once again. Take a look at this.
These retired Hollywood actors used to star in American television series. Ann and Stewart, both 80, are still acting, but now in the gardens of their retirement home.
You know, it just renews great memories. I love doing it, and I have fun doing it.
This short sketch is headed for the internal television channel of this retirement home, reserved exclusively for Hollywood retirees.
To give someone something to be ambitious about, a goal that's set, whether it's to finish that script or to edit that piece or to show it in front of their friends and family and their neighbors, that gives them that drive that keeps them alive with dignity and with purpose.
Everyone at the home worked in the studios of Los Angeles as screenwriters, directors, or producers, like 77-year-old Bob.
I'm retired. I'm maybe busier than I've ever been. I need projects to keep my spirits up, to keep my intellectual abilities up.
Built in the 1920s, the retirement home is partly financed by generous donors, such as George Clooney, Jodie Foster, and Steven Spielberg. While those who can't afford it pay nothing, some of the more wealthy retirees shell out between $3,000 and $6,000 a month for their own private residence, like Connie's.
Here's a nice guy, Matt LeBlanc. We did a film together.
Connie has performed around 150 roles in movies and television. At 103, she is one of the elders of the home and has just auditioned for a horror film.
No, why should I retire? But you know, it's getting tougher to get a job because they don't write for old ladies very much.
With 165 residents living here and hundreds on the waiting list, this retirement home keeps the memory of old Hollywood alive.
Wow, that is really sweet. Why should they retire? Indeed, why should they retire? Well, on that note, we come to an end for this morning. Do connect with us via Twitter. Tweet to us at WION Breakfast. For now, I'm Charu Shankar.
I'm Satya Srigandham, and you were watching WION Breakfast. See you again tomorrow, same time, 8 a.m. in the morning.